Father-in-law Kaido's monster cells create the strongest beasts. 221. The return of Hawkins, the destruction of the Kid Pirates. Find the Phantom Beast, the Bat Fruit. Apu smiled grimly. Why do you need to ask something so obvious, kid? Kid's face burst with blue veins and roared, you shameless bastard. 35. Apu shook his head and said, no, I'm not shameless, I'm doing this for your own good too. With the strength of you and Hawkins, can you really defeat the red-haired four emperors? Stop daydreaming. But if you join Beast's pirates, let alone redheads, even marine and world government, you don't need to be afraid anymore. Got it, kid, I'm helping you. Hearing Apu's words, Kid's teeth were about to gnaw. If eyes could kill, then Apu would have been torn to smithereens by the A's he hated. Kid looked at Luo Xing again, subconsciously showing fear in his pupils. At the Saibadi archipelago half a month ago, he saw with his own eyes that the unfathomable man in front of him was facing off against the legendary 310 King Rayleigh. That is definitely one of the top battles in this sea. The five emperors Luo Xing and Pluton Rayleigh's conqueror's haki made the situation change and the sky darkened. The swords of the two did not touch each other, but were separated by a distance. Kid didn't understand what that meant at first. After coming to New World, only then did he know that this is a conqueror's entanglement that only the few powerful people in the world can use. Luo Xing's prestige, in the sea, is not inferior to that of his father-in-law Kaido. Such a terrifying man suddenly appeared in front of me. How can Kid not be afraid? How can you not panic? Including Hawkins, there is also a horrified light in his eyes. The person who knows the current affairs is Junji. Apu sneered, surrender now, Kid. Hawkins, it's your only option. Kid took a step back subconsciously. His first thought was to escape. But when he heard Apu's words, ambition and unwillingness suddenly surged up. He is the man who wants to become the Pirate King. How can he be afraid? How can he escape, let alone surrender to others? Kid's leg muscles tensed. He stopped his backward steps, and gritted his teeth and roared, arsehole Apu, do you think Lao Tzu is like you, a soft egg without seats? Obviously. Captain Kid, who has the highest bounty among the supernovas and who also killed the most in the first half of the Grand Line, is going to die hard. Apu sneered, how stupid. 35. Immediately, look at Hawkins. Hawkins, what about you? Are you going to be as self-sufficient as Kid? Hawkins, who was sweating on his head, was doing fortune-telling with a set of tarot cards. He looked at the hexagram in a daze, and whispered in horror, the odds of winning are 0. The odds of escaping are 0. 2 zeros mean that if Hawkins does not surrender, there is only one dead end. Hawkins is not like the stubborn Kid. He is a man who believes in destiny. Since fate told him that resistance is only death, and he doesn't want to die, then he can only surrender. Hawkins made a decisive decision. He put away the tarot cards, came directly to Luo Xing, and fell to his knees with a plop. My subordinate Hawkins will swear allegiance to Lord Luo Xing from now on. Hawkins did just that. Kid's eyes were split, and he yelled angrily, Hawkins, you're actually a scumbag. I really misread you. Hawkins said without blushing, I just followed my fate. Luo Xing accepted Hawkins. Then he was too lazy to look at Kid, who was going to be stubborn to the end, and said to Pijuan and Apu, kill all those who are unwilling to surrender. 99. Luo Xing is not like Kaido, the father-in-law in the original novel, who just beat Kid seriously and put him in Tujing prison. Isn't that a waste of food? Pijuan, who had long planned to use Kid to test his Phantom Beast ability, immediately rushed towards Kid excitedly, saying, let me see how much the so-called extremely evil generation has. Don't let me be too disappointed. 39. Kid saw that Luo Xing had no sign of making a move, and couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He was completely unsure of defeating Luo Crossing, and at this moment, Peggy Wan, who was rushing towards him, although a famous flying six. But Kid still has full confidence in his own strength. But this confidence, it soon disappeared without a trace. Kid found that he greatly appreciated Fu Bao's strength. The opponent is far ahead of him in terms of speed and strength. Even if he used the ability of the magnetic fruit to create a giant steel fist, he would not be able to hurt the opponent at all. Of course, after all, Peggy Wan ate monster cells, drank supernatural water, plus his own hard training. In terms of strength, it has been enough to compete with the four Emperor's Admiral-level powerhouses for quite a long time. Whereas the Kid who has just entered the New World, can it be compared? Kid is soon in danger, facing a life-and-death crisis. His deputy captain and swordsman Kira, seeing that the situation was not good, immediately stepped forward to help. Kid, I'm here to help you. 55. Two supernovas fought together against Pijuan. Peggy was unafraid, but even more excited. With a flash of his body, he turned into two, facing Kid and Kira respectively. Kid and Kira were shocked. What kind of ability is this, clone? But the other party is not the zone Spinosaurus fruit ability. How can he use this super ability? What made Kid and Kira even more astonished was that the two figures that the other party divided into are actually entities, and their strength is also extremely powerful. Peggy Wan was alone, and the two supernovas, Kid and Kira, were overwhelmed. And Peggy Wan didn't do his best. With all his strength, He can separate 10 clones. The other end, Apple goes after the rest of the kid pirates. Apple has eaten ghost-level monster cells, and his strength has also increased greatly, already above Kid and Hawkins. The strongest captain and vice-captain of the kid pirates are not there, and the rest of the members are not Apple's opponents at all. In just a moment, they were slaughtered. Kid and Kira's eyes were red with anger, and they roared again and again. But after all, the fate of being killed is inevitable. The lives of the two were taken away together by Becky in case of a big move. Hawkins witnessed this scene, and his heart set off a huge wave. He knew that Kid and others were sure to die. Unexpectedly, Luo Xing didn't make a move at all, and one of his subordinates, Flu Bao, killed Kid and Kira easily. The strength of this Flu Bao named Peggy 1 is too terrifying at 5.4, right? It is clearly several times more terrifying than in the news. Hawkins was terrified. There are too many strong people in the 100 Beasts group, and with his supernova strength, he is simply inconspicuous in it. Kid's death, for today's Luo Xing, is just a trivial matter. Luo Xing asked Peggy 1 to return to Dressrosa, and let the newly joined Apple and Hawkins go to Wanokuni, waiting for the dispatch of the old father-in-law. He himself took out any door and went to Vergo's place. Previously, Luo Xing informed the opponent of the location of the bat fruit, the phantom beast and the vampire form in order to let Vergo take the position of Marine Admiral. At the moment, Vergo has already obtained this powerful Udman's fruit, and his strength has been greatly increased. Luo Xing intends to let Vergo drink the super divine water again, so that Vergo will be promoted to Marine Admiral, and it is a certainty. 222. The ability of vampire form. Vergo has Admiral strength. Vergo led the G5 fleet to the ancient town of Sleep, and successfully obtained the bat fruit phantom beast, the vampire form. This is an extremely powerful fruit that can restore youth. However, Vergo himself is in his prime and does not need to use this ability. The biggest effect of this fruit on him is to continuously weaken the enemy by absorbing the enemy's blood, so that he can maintain his peak state at all times. This ability is somewhat similar to the Green Kettle's ability to absorb nutrients from other people's bodies. I don't know whether Vergo and the Green Cow fight faster, sucking blood faster or sucking nutrients faster. Vergo stopped the fleet on an uninhabited island. Let the soldier of G5 wait for him on the coast. Vergo went to the island alone. On the deck of the warship, Smoker, the smoker, looked at Vergo's back with a suspicious and hostile look. When the Neo-Marine of the former Admiral Black Arm Zephyr was besieged, it was Vergo who dealt with Teacher Zephyr alone. After that, Tashigi was led to the battlefield by Zephyr's disciple Ain. Then the volcano erupted and the whole island was destroyed. Vergo returns intact, but says that Tashigi has been submerged by the erupting volcano. At that time, Smoker was red-eyed and tried to settle accounts with Vergo, but was kicked away by Vergo instead. He is far from 18 and is no match for Vergo. Smoker was furious, hating his weakness. He couldn't protect Tashigi, and he couldn't even teach the wicked Vergo a lesson. In order to increase his strength as soon as possible, he participated in the summit war despite the danger. But it didn't work much. He can only deal with the pirate minions under Whitebeard's command, or the pirate captains at the bottom of the ranking. Like the dozen or so captains on the main ship of the White Regiment, Smoker can't be beaten by any of them. After the top is over, he returned to the G5 branch again. On the one hand, he always felt that Vergo's whereabouts were mysterious and seemed to be hiding something, and he wanted to monitor him. On the eve of the summit, Smoker advised Aokiji to investigate Vergo's past. However, Vergo was valued by the Marine executives because of his achievements in destroying Zephyr, and Sengoku even praised him as an admiral. Now, Aokiji had already left Marine and disappeared without a trace, so this matter naturally ended without a hitch. On the other hand, Smoker is also holding his breath, and he trains for more than 10 hours a day. Just thinking of taking revenge for Tashigi one day. He beat Vergo hard. Pity. Smoker's wish. It is estimated that it will never be realized unless Smoker has the strength of Marine Admiral one day. Otherwise, he wouldn't even be able to touch Vergo's back. Vergo, who was walking towards the center of the island, could feel Smoker's hateful eyes behind him without turning his head. He smiled coldly, disdain in his heart. If it wasn't for Lord Luo Xing's order, he would have secretly killed the over-the-top Smoker. All the way to the center of the island. Here, the G5 soldiers on the coast are impossible to see. A tall and majestic man stands here. The moment Vergo saw the man's figure, His Majesty as the commander of the G5 base disappeared instantly without a trace. He knelt down on one knee and bowed in a very respectful voice. "See the young master." "Get up." Luo Xing sensed Vergo's increasingly deep and heavy breath, and nodded with satisfaction. "Your strength is more refined than before." Vergo stood up, with a respectful attitude but no less, and said, "It's all the monster cells that the young master bestowed, and the credit of the gravity training room." 35. Luo Xing specially built a gravity training room for Vergo to have admiral-level strength as soon as possible. It is the only gravity training room in the sea other than Wanokuni. It shows the importance he attaches to Vergo. How could Vergo not be grateful to Dade? Luo Xing took out the super divine water and threw it to Vergo. Drink this bottle of potion, and you will completely possess the top strength of this sea. 35. Vergo caught it excitedly. Is this potion another heaven-defying invention by Lord Luo Xing that is comparable to a freak cell? And gratitude surged in my heart. Vergo bowed deeply to Luo Xing again. Then he drank the supernatural water. After a period of severe pain, his breath skyrocketed. Just like the Admiral-level powerhouse, Vergo felt the unprecedented power in his body, and couldn't help but let out a long howl. Roar! The howling soared into the sky, causing the birds and beasts on this small island to flee in terror. Vergo said with confidence, Master, young master, with my current strength, I can definitely take the position of Marine Admiral. I won't lose to those two rookies like Fujitora Green Bull. Luo Xing is also very confident in Vergo's current strength. He said, the new Marine under the leadership of Akainu, the system will be finalized soon. You have to go to Marineford as soon as possible and take the Admiral position. But before that, while you still have the identity of the G5 base chief, go to the Golden City and take back all the money in the hands of the Golden Emperor Taizalo. The Golden Emperor Tetsulo, who has the ability of the Golden Fruit, can freely manipulate gold. It is said that he controls 20% of Pell in the world and has many industries around the world. Luo Xing wants to compete with the world government for sea hegemony, and the huge war that affects the whole world is advancing from North Blue. Although the process of conquering the world will itself make huge profits, but who thinks money is too little? Most importantly, that guy Tetsulo is not very strong, but he has so much money. Do not take. The reason why Vergo did this in the name of G5. This is because this can not only avoid the attention of the world government, but also add another piece to Vergo's exploits. To be Marine Admiral after all, in addition to 310 zone strength is the main factor, credit is also very important. Fujitora and Green Bull are both recruited through the world and have just joined the Navy. Their qualifications and credit are far inferior to Vergo. As long as Vergo shows the strength enough to compete with them, there is no doubt that the top Marines, including Akainu and the retired Sengoku, will support Vergo, a distinguished old Marine, as Admiral. Vergo understood what Luo Xing meant and took the order in awe. Luo Xing nodded slightly, opened any door, and left the place, destroying the Golden Emperor. Such a trivial matter, with Vergo's current Admiral-level strength, can easily be accomplished. There is no need for Luo Xing to be present. Vergo returns to the G5 fleet. The smoker, who had been closely watching him, was shocked and cried out, "Why did your breath suddenly become stronger?" "Impossible. What did you just do?" 35. Vergo glanced at him coldly, and said expressionlessly, "It's none of your business, smoker. As a subordinate, you have no right to interfere with your superior." 39. Vergo's look contained a more powerful aura than ever before. Smoker turned pale in shock, cold sweat dripping down his back. His face was pale, and he dared not say anything more. Vergo snorted coldly, and then ordered the G5 fleet indisputably. The whole army turned around and headed to the Golden City of Tetsulo. 223. The three fires of the new Marshal Akainu, the conflict with Garp, and the relocation of the Marine headquarters. Vergo led G5 to attack the Golden City of Tetsulo. He reported to the new Marine Marshal Seikazuki Akainu. Akainu is very happy about this. As Marshal Marine who just took office, Akainu's prestige has not yet been fully established. For the Marine as a whole, it can't be done like an arm. There are complex reasons for this. One is Akainu's superior, who directly forced the former Admiral Okiji away. The Marine's internal officers who had been friends with Okiji were naturally reluctant to buy Akainu's account. One is Akainu's idea of absolute justice, which is at odds with retired Sengoku, as well as Marine hero Garp. Especially the conflict between Akainu and Garp. In Summit War, Akainu killed Fire Fist Ace, and Garp even said that he wanted to kill Akainu, so there was absolutely no room for relaxation. The two were almost inseparable. Since Akainu took over as the Marshal, Garp, who usually likes to stay in the Marshal's office, has never been here again. Garp didn't even attend the ceremony of Akainu's enthronement as Marshal. Garp hates Akainu for killing Ace, hates Akainu's extreme style of doing things. Akainu also disliked Garp. This old fellow, titled Marine Hero, is not a qualified Marine at all. Garp allowed his son to be the leader of the Revolutionary Army and his grandson to be a pirate. In the end, Seikazuki killed the Fire Fist Ace, the son of One Piece, and Garp actually moved to kill him. It is really unbearable and unbearable. If it wasn't for Garp's protection from Sengoku, Kong, and even the Five Elders, Akainu's first fire after he became a marshal would have taken Garp into action. Even if he can't do anything to Garp, Garp can't imagine that under his new Marine, he can do whatever he wants. The new official took off his three fires. Akainu made several major decisions in order to fully control Marine. One of the most important decisions was to move the Marine headquarters from Marineford to the G1 branch facing New World. Marineford had been largely destroyed by Whitebeard. Relocating the G1 branch will not require a lot of effort to rebuild Marineford, but also face the pirates of the New World, showing Akainu's determination to eliminate all pirates. but because the Saibadi archipelago was occupied by the beasts. Red Line Sanctuary Mary E. Joyce was attacked by Saibadi, with only Marineford in the middle. Therefore, Akainu didn't give up Marineford, and the five elders wouldn't allow him to. Akainu deployed a heavy army on Marineford, always guarding against the forces of the beasts in Saibadi. After relocating Marine headquarters, Akainu's second priority is to fill Marine's third Admiral spot. As Marine's highest combat power, Admiral's position is too crucial to lose. Aokiji's departure, Akainu's superior, led to this period of time. Marine Admiral was left with only Kizaru. It would have been difficult to fill the two admirals. After all, Admiral-level combat power is a rare existence. How can it be so easy to find? At least among the elite Vice Admiral within Marine, Akainu did not find a suitable Admiral candidate. These Vice Admiral and Admiral's strength really still has a lot of gaps. Fortunately, this time, Marine has recruited two monster-level recruits, Fujitora and Green Bull. Akainu was overjoyed, thinking that God was helping him. Akainu personally saw the strength of Fujitora and Green Bull, and recognized that both of them have Admiral-level combat power. Needless to say, Fujitora, the Paramecia gravity fruit person, can pull down even meteorites in the universe. Although he is blind, observation haki has cultivated to a terrifying level. It can not only sense human emotions such as emotions, but also sense movements thousands of miles away. The perception range of seeing and hearing is really exaggerated. No wonder it can accurately pull down the meteorites in the universe. Fujitora's strength. Akainu is very satisfied. The only dissatisfaction is that Fujitora's concept of justice is not the same as his. Fujitora cares more about the life and death of civilians and the rationality of justice. If there is still some dissatisfaction with Fujitora and Akainu, for the Green Cow, Akainu was extremely satisfied because Green Bull upholds the same absolute justice as him. Also, Green Bull also admires Akainu very much, regards Akainu as an idol, and there is no doubt that he belongs to the Akainu family. Speaking of Akainu inside Marine, there are actually many staunch supporters. The newly added Green Bull is one of them, as well as Ghost Spider, Doberman and other elite Vice Admiral who are ruthless towards pirates. These people made Akainu in the position of Marshal, and although he could not yet command Marine like an arm, he quickly gained a firm foothold. And Vergo's phone report, representing the veteran Navy who holds the two important positions of Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral and G5 Branch Base Chief. He intends to move closer to Akainu. Of course Akainu was overjoyed. Without hesitation, he agreed to Vergo's attack on the Golden City, and said he would explain it to the five elders himself. The power of money is infinite, and Tetsulo has secretly made a lot of transactions with the world government. That's why no one has dared to play Tetsulo's idea so far. To move Tetsulo, it must be approved by the five elders. Akainu took this matter down, which can be described as attaching great importance to Vergo. But Vergo's next sentence made Akainu hesitate. Marshal Sakazuki, Admiral's position has not been decided yet. When Tetsulo is eliminated, I want to make a trip to headquarters and compete fairly with a newly added Fujitora and Green Bull for the position of Admiral. Akainu fell silent. In terms of qualifications and achievements, Vergo is of course more qualified to be an Admiral than Fujitora and Green Bull. But in terms of strength, Vergo should be close. Akainu intends to destroy all the pirates in the New World, and to contend with the increasingly arrogant beast group. What he cares most about now is Marine strength. As long as there is enough strength, there is absolutely no problem in being promoted from a rookie to Admiral. But not strong enough, good enough, even with past achievements and qualifications, Akainu doesn't want him to be an Admiral. Akainu thought about it and said, Vergo, you know, Fujitora and Green Bull have monster-level strength, and they are very suitable to be Admiral. Vergo's calm voice on the phone said, I've heard that those two are very strong, but I'm not afraid of them. In short, is fair competition okay? Speaking of which, Akainu had nothing to persuade, so he had to agree to Vergo's request. But it is inevitable to wonder, is Vergo so confident? And the next day, when Vergo took only half a day to destroy Tetsulo in the Golden City, and arrived at Marine headquarters, he fought with Fujitora and Green Bull. Akainu completely understood the source of Vergo's confidence. Akainu was simply surprised and delighted. Vergo actually has the strength to rival Fujitora and Green Bull, and Marine has another top-level combat force, which is really a great thing. 224. Fighting for the position of Admiral, Vergo vs Fujitora. Fujitora's shock. New Marine headquarters, formerly the G1 branch. Direct to New World. Here, the newly appointed Marine Marshal Akainu has turned it into a complete war fortress. There are cannons and warships all around, and the dense firepower is enough to make any pirate feel terrified. At this moment, in the square of the new Marine headquarters, many sailors are gathering to watch the excitement. These Marines are all Marine officers with positions, and there is no shortage of powerful elites in the headquarters. Vice Admiral, even Sengoku, the retired former marshal and now the Marine Chief Inspector, is watching with wide-eyed curiosity. Xio, you said Vergo and Fujitora, which one will win? Sengoku asked Jirudo, the chief advisor next to him. Crane was sent by Sengoku to report to the Five Elders during the Summit War when he learned about the destruction of Impel Down. Crane went to Impel Down with T-Dolphin, Momousagi, and CPO. Nay, he was played around by Luo Xing with Enidor. Later, she also participated in the Battle of Marine, World Government's 50,000 army, and the Saibadi Archipelago of the Beasts. She saw Momousagi, whom she regarded as her younger sister, and was taken away by Luo Crossing. He also saw with his own eyes the junior T-Dolphin, killed by Luo Xing with a sword. Crane's strength is not weak, but he is powerless on such a battlefield. She herself was badly injured. Now that the injury is more than half healed, he still sticks to his post as Marine's chief staff officer. Unlike Garp's anger at Akainu and Sengoku's disapproval of Akainu's philosophy, Jiru is fair to Akainu. She just does her own thing. Hearing Sengoku's question, Jiru said, "Didn't you praise the base commander Vergo for his admiral appearance before? He killed Zephyr, and seems to have eaten bat fruit, phantom beast, and vampire form, so his strength should not be weaker than Fujitora." Ha ha ha. The old man thinks so too. Sengoku ate senpai and laughed. He admires Vergo very much, and thinks Vergo is an excellent marine who dares to do things and is responsible. It's not like that idiot Kizaru, who knows how to fish every day. If it wasn't for Kizaru's unwillingness to fight for the Saibadi Archipelago, would the Marines have lost so badly? In this regard, the Five Elders were furious and made a huge fire. Fortunately, Sengoku directly took the blame and resigned, ignoring the curses of the Five Elders. But the boss of CP0 was sad, and was scolded by the Five Elders. Unbeknownst to Sengoku, the Five Elders themselves, Bife, were also scolded by the mysterious Lordim, and even nearly lost their heads. The reason why the Five Elders can't wait for Marine to do the world conscription and Kong to do the general mobilization of the sea, land and air is because of Lordim's death order. At the same time, the Five Elders also let Vegapunk develop new weapons. It is said that the new weapon can even replace Shikibukai's combat power. Sengoku continued, "But I have seen Fujitora's strength before. This is a real monster." 35. It's hard to say which of them is stronger and who is weaker. Under the watchful eyes of Sengoku, Jiru, Akainu, the green cow beside Akainu, and countless sailors, Vergo and Fujitora, who were in the ring, started a contest. Vergo held his ghost bamboo with a grim expression. Fujitora held a stick-shaped knife, raised his white pupils, and said slowly, "Since the old man has chosen to join Marine, of course he has his own ambitions, and the old man of Admiral will not give up." 5. Vergo said blankly, "No need to say more, let's speak with strength." That's offended. Fujitora drew his knife suddenly. Buzzing, circles of gravitational ripples rose into the sky, rising into the infinite universe. Fujitora's observation haki perception range is definitely one of the widest in the pirate world. The gravitational ripple rushed into the universe, and it didn't take long for it to pull down a huge meteorite that was burning with flames. This meteorite is dozens of times bigger than Akainu's meteor volcano. Falling from the sky brought a violent coercion, causing all the seamen below to change color and shock, and their hearts shook. Meteorite, it's actually a meteorite in the universe. It's incredible, as expected of Fujitora, who is called a monster. Admiral-level powerhouse, everyone has the power to destroy the world. Fortunately, this ring is surrounded by high sea stone walls. Otherwise, their group of onlookers should have fled long ago. A huge meteorite soon descended on Vergo's head. The strong wind pressure made Vergo's coat rattle. His skin also felt the heat of the flames on the meteorite. But Vergo remained expressionless. It was not until the meteorite was less than 10 meters away from him that Vergo raised the ghost bamboo in his hand and hit him hard. The whole body of the ghost bamboo turns black, covering the advanced armament haki. Boom! Ghost bamboo bombarded the meteorite. The meteorite was instantly destroyed from the inside by a tyrannical force. Boom! The entire meteorite burst with a bang, and the shattered stones crashed against the surrounding sea stone walls. Fujitora was taken aback. He didn't expect that Vergo could crack his meteorite so easily. What a powerful armament and ferocious power! Fujitora exclaimed. Vergo slammed his feet on the ground. Like a cannonball, the body shot out and attacked Fujitora. Fujitora did not dare to neglect. Raise the knife to resist. Vergo's speed was extremely fast, flickering left and right, and after images seemed to be left in the air. There's nothing surprising about this, because Vergo itself is a strong physique type. The proficiency of Marine 6 styles is not weaker than CP0. He also ate the ghost-level monster cells and super divine water one after another, plus the bat fruit of the zone phantom beast species. All aspects of physical fitness have been greatly strengthened. In physique alone, he is enough to compete with the boss of CP0. However, although his speed is fast, Fujitora, who is very good at seeing and seeing, can block one by one in an orderly manner. And even Fujitora also caught a neutral between Vergo's attacks and activated the gravity fruit ability. Gravity knife tiger. Terrible horizontal gravity swept in, The surrounding sea stone walls were pressed into a huge depression. Vergo did not expect such a powerful move from Fujitora. His body swayed slightly. After the accident, the corner of his mouth evoked a strange arc. Gravity, he was used to it in the gravity training room created for him by Lord Luo Xing. This kind of gravity, he can totally handle it. Vergo quickly stabilized his figure, advancing instead of retreating, hard against Fujitora's lateral gravity, at a shockingly fast speed. He came to Fujitora in an instant. Fujitora was shocked and her face changed drastically. Impossible. The old man's gravity is actually ineffective against him? Call out. When Fujitora couldn't believe it, Vergo had come to his back, and the sharp claws given him by the vampire form grabbed it with one claws. Puff. Blood splattered. A bloody claw mark appeared on Fujitora's back. The monster-level Fujitora is injured. 225. The new 3 Admiral Kizaru, Fujitora, Vergo. Green Bull withdraws voluntarily. Fujitora was scratched with a claw mark on the back and was injured. Such a small injury, for a strong player of Fujitora's level, it shouldn't be a big deal. It shouldn't have any impact at all. But, when Fujitora sensed the scar on his back, his physical strength suddenly began to drain rapidly. In the blink of an eye, nearly 1/5 has passed. Fujitora was shocked. Even more shocking than Vergo resisting his lateral gravity. Is this the ability of a bat fruit, a phantom species, and a vampire form tilde? It's really scary. Fujitora wondered in an instant the reason for his loss of energy. It must be the ability of the opponent's vampire fruit. Vergo said in a cold voice, yes. Those who are scratched by me will lose their physical strength quickly. These lost physical strength will feed back to myself. 99. The vampire form itself is a powerful phantom beast fruit with various magical abilities, and under the strengthening of monster cells and super divine water, Vergo's vampire ability is much weirder than the Red Earl in the original book. Fujitora turned around slowly, her face extremely solemn. Not only can it make the enemy lose physical strength, but it can also feed back on itself. Does this mean that Vergo will become stronger and stronger, while the enemy will become weaker? How to fight this? Sengoku, Crane and other countless sailors who were watching took a deep breath at this moment. I was shocked and amazed by Vergo's terrifying ability. Sengoku said, Vergo, himself an admiral. 35. Now that I have eaten such a powerful mythical beast vampire fruit, my strength has become even stronger. Even if the old man is against him, there is not much certainty of victory. As soon as these words came out, the audience was even more shocked. Was even Marine's former marshal, Sengoku-sama, who was able to compete with Roger, the Pirate King, and the strongest man, Whitebeard, that he couldn't defeat Vergo. It's a bit shocking indeed. The current Marine Marshal, Akainu, was delighted and was pleasantly surprised by Vergo's strength. The Green Bull standing next to him said, well, how can it absorb people's physical strength? It's a bit similar to mine. Mr. Seikazuki, since Vergo-senpai can injure brother Fujitora, it shows that he has the strength of an admiral. You will definitely support him as a Marine Admiral, right? Vergo is, after all, the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral and the base chief of the G5 branch. In terms of qualifications, it is far better than the newly joined Green Bull and Fujitora. As long as Vergo can compete with Green Bull and Fujitora in strength, there is no doubt that Akainu, including Sengoku and other Marine executives, will definitely support Vergo to take over Admiral. Akainu didn't hide it either, and said simply, yes, Vergo will definitely take an admiral position. 35. After knowing Vergo's strength, Akainu has already placed Vergo in the Marine Admiral position. Green Bull shrugged and said, then me and brother Fujitora, who should quit, or, let me fight brother Fujitora again, and the winner will be Admiral. Marine Admiral has only 3 locations. The old Admiral Kizaru has 1, and now Vergo has another, and that's the last one left. It means that Green Bull and Fujitora can only have 1 person in the position. Akainu suddenly turned to the Green Cow and said seriously, no, Green Bull, you don't need to fight Fujitora anymore. You are all forces of justice, and the mission is to destroy the pirates. You shouldn't be fighting here. It seems that because of Okiji's departure, the last thing Akainu wants to see now is Marine's loss of top combat power. That would be extremely bad for him to fight against pirates and against 100 beasts in the future. Since Green Bull and Fujitora joined Marine, Akainu doesn't want anyone to leave anyway. Admiral's position is nothing but a false name. We are all guardians of justice. What's the point of being an admiral, as long as absolute justice can be implemented? Even being a sailor without a rank is worth it. Green Bull. The reason why Green Bull chose to join Marine, unlike Fujitora, which has its own justice, to a large extent, he worships Akainu, because he admires Akainu to implement the concept of absolute justice. Green Bull sincerely admired, Mr. Seikazuki, you are so right. Okay, then I'll take the initiative to withdraw from the competition, not this admiral. But, Mr. Seikazuki, you can't really give me a Marine Corps position. Akainu sipped his cigar and smiled contentedly. Ha ha ha. Good. Green Cow, this is the real man for justice. 35. Green Bull took the initiative to withdraw. Fujitora and Vergo took over Admiral, and Marine did not lose any top combat power. Ask for flowers. Of course Akainu is happy. He patted the green cow on the shoulder and said, "Don't worry, Lunu, this old man will not treat you badly. The old man intends to make you the Marine Chief Inspector, the same as Marine Admiral in terms of status. Marine Superintendent, similar to Sengoku's Superintendent and Crane's General Staff, is an honorary position of Marine. These positions are highly respected and are generally reserved for the older generation of sailors who are highly respected and influential." Akainu directly let the green cow sit in such a position, which shows that he attaches great importance to the green cow. Green Bull did not express dissatisfaction with this and agreed. There is no need for Vergo and Fujitora to duel, and they each got off the ring. In this way, the new marine structure led by Akainu was completely determined. In addition to Sengoku, Garp and other Akainu commanding veterans, ... top to bottom, Marshal Akainu himself, 3 Admiral Kizaru, Fujitora, Vergo, and the Great Superintendent of Green Bull. These are the top 5 strongest combat powers for Marine. They will lead the Marine who uphold absolute justice, and the pirates of the New World, especially the Mighty Beasts pirates, to fight against each other in the near future. Radical Akainu, the first Admiral-class mission was soon given. North Blue is about to be completely occupied by the Kingdom of Germa, and the Abominable Beasts pirates are getting more and more arrogant. Admiral Fujitora, this old man ordered you to lead an army to North Blue to have a look. It's best if you can destroy Germa, but if you can't, let them know how powerful my new marine is. Fujitora led the way. This scene was seen by Vergo. When Vergo returned to his Admiral residence at the new marine headquarters, he immediately called Luo Xing to tell the story. Luo Xing is currently in Punk Hazard, asking Yan Zanjin to drink super divine water. After inventing the super Shinshui, Luo Xing first made Sanzai and Flubao improve their strength. Received a call from Vergo and learned that Vergo had been successfully promoted to Marine Admiral. Luo Xing complimented Vergo and asked him to listen to the inside of Marine, preferably to penetrate into the interior of Marie Joyce. Luo Xing tried his best to let Vergo be promoted to Admiral. The biggest reason is that only Admiral is eligible to enter the Holy Land Marie Joyce. Only Admiral has access to the 5 Elders and Celestial Dragons. Luo Xing wants to know what is Marie Joy's national treasure. What secrets does the Celestial Dragons, the mysterious him, hide? 226. Pluton Proto is hiding in Wanokuni. Jin gains strength comparable to Kaido. Although relying on Luo Xing's invention, the current power of the 100 Beasts has faintly overwhelmed Marine in the world government. Destroy the Impel Down, victory in the Sepudi Archipelago battle, including the impending conquest of North Blue. Both Marine and the world government were devastated and disgraced. But after all, it is the overlord of the sea who has ruled the world for 800 years, and its background is unfathomable. What is certain is that the world government must have hidden secret weapons and unknown combat power. The most mysterious is the national treasure of Marie Joyce, and the strength of the Lord Im, who regards the 5 Elders as his servants. Is the national treasure of Marie Joyce the legendary ancient weapon Uranus? Among the 3 ancient weapons, Pluton Pluto, Poseidon Shirahoshi, Luo Xing all have basic information about them. Pluton Pluto is a huge warship. It is said that one shot can destroy a country. The historical text of Alabasta records the exact location of Pluton. 310 Nico Robin had already told Luo Xing at the time. Luo Xing was not very interested, but to his surprise, Pluton was hiding in Wanokuni. It's kind of amazing. The old father-in-law Kaido has been looking for the ancient weapon for so many years, but he didn't expect it to be right under his nose, right in his base camp. This also fully shows that the specific hiding place of Pluton must be very secret and special. Otherwise, there is no one who has been entrenched in Wanokuni for 10 or 20 years. It is impossible that no one has noticed the existence of Pluton. There is another point that surprised Luo Xing. It's Ayu's master, Tengu Yamatoru, and what's more, it's Kazuki Iden's father, Kazuki Sukiyaki. Luo Xing was speechless. The Kazuki family is really a bunch of weirdos with abnormal brains. When he returned to Wanokuni earlier, Luo Xing did not reveal the true face of Kazuki Sukiyaki. On the one hand, it is scribbles about Ayu's feelings. After all, Ayu's little girl is really cute, and her relationship with his wife Yamato is like a sister. Luo Xing previously developed Momotaro rice balls based on Ayu's dango fruit, which subdued the fur tribe and the elephant owner, and owed the little girl Ayu a favor. Luo Xing didn't want to hurt that little girl's feelings if it wasn't necessary. On the other hand, that is, Luo Xing really didn't need to expose the true face of Kazuki Sukiyaki, because he didn't even threaten him at all. Sukiyaki himself didn't even have the slightest idea of going back to his country. To restore the country, Sukiyaki is very early to restore the country. He would not have watched his son Eden be tricked into dancing the fruit dance for several years by the big snake. Not to mention that when the rest of the daimyo are fighting against Kaido, they will hide in the dark and be his little doll. Kazuki Sukiyaki is even stranger than Eden, and can be called Wanokuni's strongest ninja. It's so bearable. Luo Xing is very curious. When he kills Momonosuke in front of Kazuki Sukiyaki, while Sukiyaki continued to endure. Luo Xing felt that his idea was not very good. After all, Xiaozu has long been his woman, and Momonosuke is his brother-in-law in terms of identity. Even if he kills him, he tortured him like this. It is simply too evil. Luo Xing smiled playfully. According to Pluton's news, Luo Xing has basically become a master. Not to mention Poseidon Shirahoshi, right on the Fishmen Island. Luo Xing will go to the Fishmen Island in person soon to bring the Fishmen Island into the sphere of influence of the 100 Beasts. Jinbai has already gone to the Fishmen Island ahead of time to prepare the ground for this. Luo Xing went to the Fishmen Island, mainly to discuss with Shirahoshi, the Princess of the Mermaid, a serious philosophical question about how humans and mermaids should reproduce the next generation. In short, both Pluton and Poseidon are among Luo Xing's masters, except for the most mysterious Uranus. He didn't know anything about it. The power of Uranus, at least not less than that of Pluton, enough to change the situation of the war. There is also that Lord Yamato, since he can regard the 5 elders as slaves, even if his true strength surpasses the 4 emperors Admiral and reaches the point where he can destroy the world, it is not impossible. These 2 points are things that Luo Xing has to worry about. Therefore, he tried his best to let Vergo take the position of Admiral, just to let Vergo try his best to inquire about this information. After instructing Vergo again, Luo Xing hung up the phone. Flame Calamity stood beside him all the time, heard Vergo's report, and said, "Master, the new Marine Admiral Fujitora has gone to North Blue, and we should be prepared here. Otherwise, based on Germa's words alone, I'm afraid he is not an Admiral opponent." After eating the dragon-level monster cells, Jin's strength has already stepped into the 4 Emperors Admiral level. He knows that the power of the top powerhouse is not something ordinary people can resist. Although the clone core on Germa's side was strong, they lack true powerhouses. Judge and his son, even after being blessed by monster cells, are still far from the top powerhouses. Luo Xing nodded and said, "Of course Germa can't be alone against Fujitora. Jin, I'm going to send you and the Brethren of Punk Hazard to North Blue." When Jin heard the words, he was overjoyed. He was guarding Punk Hazard, and he was already a little bored. "The last time I was in Saibadi, I destroyed the marine warship, and I didn't have much fun. I was about to have a good time." Luo Xing looked at Jin, who was full of energy, and smiled. "The strength of the new Admiral Fujitora is monster level. Even if you deal with it, it will not be easy. Drinking this bottle of super magic water will increase your odds against Fujitora by a few percent." Luo Xing took out a bottle of potion and gave it to Jin. Jin took it excitedly. He had already learned about the heaven-defying power of the supernatural water from Fosfu of Dressrosa. This small bottle of potion actually allowed that kid Beggy-1 to finally evolve into a human species, and he also possessed the powerful ability to clone himself. Jin was full of anticipation and drank the super divine water without hesitation. Jin's physique is extremely powerful, and in terms of defense alone, even Kaido is not as good as Jin. Therefore, the side effect of the super divine water, Jin easily beat it. The aura on Jin's body suddenly skyrocketed. If the previous Jin was only the first entry to the Imperial threshold, so at this moment, Jin is already close to the peak of the Emperor level. As far as Luo Xing's induction is concerned, Jin's aura is strong enough to be on par with his old father-in-law Kaido's, and even worse. Jin himself was shocked by the terrifying power that filled his body. He clenched his fist in disbelief and punched at will. Boom. The air vibrated violently, and it seemed that the entire Punk Hazard shook by 5.4. In the past, only the most powerful creature, Kaido Boss, could do this with just a few gestures. Too strong. This power. I will one day gain almost the same power as Boss Kaido. Ember Ecstasy. He admires Kaido most. Since Kaido rescued him from the world government, Jin decided that Kaido is the strongest person in the world, and there is no one who can be stronger than Kaido. He never imagined that one day he would be able to reach the level of the boss of Kaido, and today, it really came true. Just like a dream. Jin deeply understands that he can reach this unimaginable level, not because of his special status in the Lunaria clan, but because of the young master Luo Xing. Even Jin himself didn't realize it. He has quietly transferred the object of his most adoration from the boss of Kaido to the young master of Luo Xing. 227. Teaching Tashigi swordsmanship again, Momousagi's throbbing heart. It will take a while for Fujitora to go to North Blue. With any door in hand, Luo Xing doesn't need to worry. It won't be too late to wait until Germa reports. Jin summoned the Giver Legion stationed in Punk Hazard, and he was also familiar with the skyrocketing strength at the moment. Luo Xing took advantage of this time to go to the residences of Momousagi, Tashigi, and Ayin. In the spacious courtyard, Momousagi is practicing swordsmanship against Tashigi. After Tashigi was taught by Luo Xing, his swordsmanship progressed by leaps and bounds. Gradually, in terms of swordsmanship alone, Ayin was no longer her opponent. The arrival of Momousagi gave Tashigi a new training goal. Momousagi is an admiral candidate, and his strength is still higher than the Marine Elite Vice Admiral, and he is only a little behind the world's top powerhouse. Even though Tashigi has made great progress, The difference in strength with Momousagi is still unreasonable. I saw Tashigi let out a coquettish cry. Like a swift female leopard, it rushed towards Momousagi. Xiaoyisha in his hand just raised, and he slashed. Momousagi stood smiling. Calm and graceful. 18. With only Kimpira's scabbard, Tashigi's attack was blocked. Tashigi was not convinced and continued to attack. Dozens of attacks in succession, but they were easily blocked by Momousagi. Tashigi gasped, sweat dripping from her body, and said a little deflated, "Sister Momousagi, you are really strong." Momousagi's red lips smiled sweetly. "Sister Tashigi, if you want to defeat that man, this level is not enough. To tell you the truth, even me, in front of that man, doesn't have much room for resistance." There really isn't much room for resistance. The T-Dolphins, who were similar in strength to Momousagi, were all killed by Luo Xing with one sword. Tashigi was shocked when he heard this. Immediately, an expression of unwillingness to admit defeat appeared on his small face. "No matter how strong that hateful guy is, one day, I will definitely defeat him." The stubborn Tashigi will never give in to a pirate. Ignoring the exhaustion of physical strength, Tashigi suddenly lifted Xiaoyisha, sending out a large sword wave. Flying slash. To be able to do this, can already be called a swordsman. Momousagi's beautiful eyes were a little surprised. Sister Tashigi is really determined. Speaking of which, even Tashigi, whose strength is far inferior to hers, is thinking of resisting Luo Xing and will never give in. But Momousagi himself, their will to resist, is surprisingly weak. There are many reasons for this. Rough analysis. As an admiral candidate, following Kong all the year round, going to and from the holy land of Marie Joys, Momousagi has witnessed too many ugliness of celestial dragons. And once admiral, Momousagi will serve celestial dragons. Momousagi was so disgusted by this that she actually didn't want to be an admiral at all. Like Mr. Garp, it's not bad to be a vice admiral all your life. In short, Momousagi hates celestial dragons and sees the hypocrisy of world government very clearly. The reason why she still stays in Marine is more to repay the kindness of Kong, Crane and other seniors. But now that he's been taken away from Marine, Momousagi didn't want to go back, and continued to be the lackey for celestial dragons. Besides, Marine's current marshal is that extreme Akainu. Momousagi also does not agree with Akainu's concept. Right now, the power of the 100 beasts is becoming more and more astonishing. No one can predict which direction the world situation will develop in the future. Momousagi wants to see too. The final winner is the celestial dragons who have ruled the world for 800 years, or the 5 Emperor Luo Xing whose mind surpasses Vegapunk and Haki. The world is destined to change, and times are already changing. Momousagi is looking forward to the future world. On this point, she and Ayin have similar thoughts. Ayin is Zephyr's disciple, and the purpose of staying by Luo Xing's side is to see the future era for Zephyr. In the end, the reason why Momousagi's willingness to resist is weak cannot be known to outsiders. That is Momousagi, after seeing Luo Xing's Haki and sticking so close to that illustrious man for the first time in his life, the heart that has been closed for many years is already faintly throbbing. Momousagi, in the bottom of his heart, is actually not against getting close to Luo Crossing. On the contrary, she was still looking forward to it. Of these shameful thoughts, Momousagi naturally wouldn't tell Tashigi and Ain. She drew out the Genpira and flew the sword wave from Tashigi. When I was about to speak, the figure that had just been excited in her mind suddenly appeared, and, directly behind Tashigi. Yeah, 35. Momousagi opened his mouth in surprise. Ayin, who was on the side, was not surprised. This man is always elusive. If you want to defeat Momousagi, you're still a long way off. Let me help you. A man's voice rang in Tashigi's ear. Tashigi's flowery appearance paled. When did you come? 99. She hurriedly turned her head, and the man who was already attached to her back was not Luo Xing. And who was it? Tashigi immediately raised his knife and wanted to stab the man. Annoyed, "Stay away from people. I want to beat you, not Momousagi's sister." But the knife didn't lift at all, because both of her wrists were caught by Luo Xing's big hands. Luo Xing leaned forward and could clearly feel Tashigi's increasingly beautiful back and hip curves. Luo Xing said in Tashigi's red ears, "If you want to beat me, you have to beat Momousagi first, otherwise you have no chance at all. Come on, like last time, I'll teach you how to use the sword." Tashigi blushed and stomped his feet. Don't. People don't want you wicked to teach. You're not in a good mood." Woohoo. 310. Last time, simple Tashigi really thought Luo Xing was a good person, and taught her swordsmanship by hand. Where did you think? Just after teaching, the man showed his true colors and bullied her. Tashigi knows without thinking, the man behind him must have the same purpose this time. The embarrassed Tashigi fought back desperately. But under Luo Xing's control, she was like a child, unable to lift the slightest bit of strength. "Can only follow Luo Xing's every move." Tashigi cried, "Sister Momousagi, Sister Ain, come and save me." Ayin spread out her hands, looking helpless. Momousagi was a little amused. Does this man use this method to get the woman he likes? Full of domineering, but also a little strange tenderness. Momousagi couldn't help but remember when she was caught by Luo Xing. The man also took her into his arms very domineeringly, making her lose the strength to resist. But then, the man spoke to her in a very gentle tone, and even said that he would give her an arbitrary door. It was then that Momousagi's heart couldn't help but throb. She looked at it funny. Luo Xing and Tashigi came towards her like conjoined twins. Momousagi's beautiful eyes are sparkling, her delicate pretty face is full of weird colors, and her red lips spit out. Do you really want to fight me like this? Isn't it strange? 35. 228. Momousagi returns to her heart, as a woman of Luo Xing. The shocking Tashigi. Seeing Momousagi's quirky teasing eyes, Tashigi cried out more and more annoyed. No, I don't want that. Let me go. She struggled. The little man twisted his waist. Let Luo Xing, who is clinging to her back buttocks, feel very comfortable. Tashigi noticed something strange. His little face immediately turned red as if it was stained with blood. Luo Xing coughed and said, if you want to twist your waist, you can twist it in the room later, and then you should concentrate on learning swordsmanship. Tashigi's pretty face is the same as a burning cloud. The beautiful eyes burst into flames of anger and embarrassment. He raised his head and stared at Luo Xing, puffing out his pink mouth. You, who's going to twist? HMPH, you're so nasty. Tashigi is no match for Luo Xing at all. Luo Xing could only be obedient and controlled by Luo Xing's every move. Momousagi couldn't help but smiled while covering Hongyan's small mouth. Yin, who was next to him, also smiled. Luo Xing said solemnly, cultivation should look like cultivation. Look at the sword. Grabbing Tashigi's hand, he swung a sword at Momousagi. Momousagi is smiling brightly, flashed sideways. Liu said curvily, such a funny action. People can't cultivate. 35. Luo Xing didn't care, and still grabbed Tashigi and attacked Momousagi. Clang clang. Randomly correct a few tricks. Tashigi's face turned even redder. Momousagi panted with a laugh. Luo Xing put the sword into the sheath at the right time, and said calmly, okay, after practicing, it's time to rest. Momousagi's beautiful eyes turned tactfully, and she rolled her eyes. This rest, is it serious? Of course it's decent. Even when he was resting, Luo Xing did not forget to help his children to cultivate. He made Tashigi take several difficult poses, so that the angle of the sword would be unexpected to others. He made aim to master the ability of the retrogressive fruit, and turned Tashigi and Momousagi into the appearance of little girls of a few years old. At last, he also helped Momousagi to practice and let Momousagi use the ability to charm people. Throughout the room, in an instant, it was filled with pink mist, like a fairyland. Until the North Blue side, news came that Admiral Fujitora led Marine and was about to arrive in Germa. Luo Xing just got up and left. Momousagi heard the message on the phone. She has become Luo Xing's woman, more and more beautiful. Every move has a natural charm. A strand of her hair was soaked in sweat and stuck to her white forehead. Momousagi lightly exhaled the aroma, calming the just intense breath. She stretched out her snow-white jade arm and leaned on the man's broad shoulders from behind. He sighed faintly. Are you going to fight Marine at North Blue? I don't know if I'm still Marine tilde. Luo Xing turned around and took Momousagi into his arms. He's not the kind of man who turns his face and doesn't recognize people. Whether before or after, he has always been good to his women. Luo Xing comforted, it's a Marine or a pirate, what does it really matter? Identity is just an external shackle and symbol, and it doesn't really decide anything. All we have to do is ourselves. Momousagi buried her face in the man's chest and listened to the man's powerful heartbeat. This heartbeat made her feel at ease and warm like never before. Tao Mini Uiu said, so, who am I now? Luo Xing said domineeringly and firmly, of course it's my woman. Momousagi froze for a moment, then burst into a smile. I accepted the answer in my heart. She has indeed become Luo Xing's woman, a fact that cannot be changed. As a woman Luo Xing, it is not bad to continue to wait and see the future world. At least, she can experience the changes of the times more deeply. Momousagi stood up from Luo Xing's arms and said, then, my dear husband, can you allow me to go to North Blue too? Seeing Momousagi's attitude, Luo Xing has basically put his heart in him, saying that he is not happy as false. To be frank, from the moment Luo Xing caught Momousagi, she never expected Momousagi to be his woman willingly. He thought Momousagi would fight to the end like Tashigi, and the current situation really surprised Luo Xing. He probably understood the reason why Momousagi came back. As an admiral candidate, Momousagi must have seen a lot of the ugliness of celestial dragons, and is unwilling to be a lackey for the world government. Second, isn't it normal for a man like Luo Xing to fall in love with a woman? All in all, Luo Xing was very happy and agreed to Momousagi's request without hesitation. When Tashigi and Ain heard it, they immediately supported their weak bodies and said they would also go to North Blue. Ain is to see the future era for Teacher Zephyr. What is it to stay in Punk Hazard all the time? Not to mention Tashigi. Even though the little girl was bullied by Luo Xing just now, it aroused her rebelliousness even more, and she still wanted to go back to Marine. Well, Of course this is impossible. Luo Xing simply agreed. All three girls need to rebath and change their clothes. After cleaning up, it has been a long time. Luo Xing counted the time. At this moment the marine led by Fujitora should have just arrived at North Blue. Almost in time. Jin had long since rallied the empowered legion stationed at Punk Hazard. Luo Xing stopped and took out any door. Let Jin and the others take the lead. He and Momousagi, Tashigi, and Dane's three daughters stayed at the end. Opposite any door is a large island on the border of North Blue. This is one of the strongest countries in North Blue. But as early as the early days of Luo Xing's conquest of North Blue, he was destroyed by the Germac clone army as a target. This place has long since become the territory of the Beast Group. Luo Xing took the three daughters and walked out of any door. The four judges and their sons on the island, together with the tens of thousands of clone corps behind them, immediately knelt down on one knee and shouted in unison, "See the young master." There are thousands of people, limitless. Tens of thousands of people shouted in unison, enough to be called deafening. Both Tashigi and Dane were shocked by this scene, especially Tashigi, for a long time can't come back to his senses. Good. See, she has always believed that Luo Xing is the kind of bad guy who likes to bully women and is a gentle scum. Because Luo Xing has never been violent to her. Even when he forced her and bullied her, he was gentle and gentle. This is the first time for Tashigi to truly feel that behind Luo Xing's gentle surface, there is a great majesty that is enough to shake the world. She stared blankly at the man in front of her. In the face of thousands of people worshipping, he is still calm and indifferent. As soon as he raised his hand, all the people stood up in unison. This supreme haki and majesty is breathtaking. At least Tashigi, who has never been in the world, has never seen it before, and was greatly shocked. Tashigi couldn't help comparing Luo Xing to the smoker captain she used to admire most. I have to admit, Captain Smoker is nowhere near as young as this man's little finger. Is this the real five emperors, the beasts pirates who are going to change the world? 39. Tashigi's heart was fluctuating, looking at Luo Xing's back. He couldn't help but gradually become crazy. 229. Pirates do not represent evil, and marine does not represent justice. Please subscribe. Tashigi's little heart was shocked. She pursed her lips and held Xiao Yishu tightly around her waist. Keep telling yourself in your heart, no matter how powerful he is still a pirate and an enemy of justice. I'm marine, even if I have to stay in the enemy camp and get bullied by that bad guy, it won't change my belief as marine. Tashigi is a stubborn girl. At the same time, she is a naive girl with a simple mind and not deep in the world. In her opinion, Luo Xing is a pirate, which means evil. Marine and world government represent justice. Upright Tashigi, be a defender of justice. But what is true justice? Tashigi's little head, but never thought about this issue. Therefore, she is too simple and thinks too simply. Momousagi, who stood beside Tashigi, clearly knew Tashigi's simple thoughts. Momousagi sighed slightly in his heart. Once upon a time, like Tashigi, she also believed in the justice of marine and the world government. But since becoming an admiral candidate and being able to enter and leave the Holy Land Marie Joyce, Momousagi deeply understands that her knowledge in the past was too shallow and her mistakes were too outrageous. Celestial dragons guarded by marine and the world government, what kind of rubbish are they? People of all races were captured as slaves. When they usually travel, they ride on the backs of slaves. For the life and death of all 310 people except celestial dragons, I never look at them, thinking that they are all despicable and inferior. Such celestial dragons are 100 times worse than pirates and worse than beasts. But Marine, who claims to represent justice, desperately defends the interests of these rubbish celestial dragons. Isn't it funny how righteous it is? It is because of this that Momousagi did not have the strong will to rebel against Luo Xing like Tashigi did. Now she has become Luo Xing's woman. Momousagi has completely decided to use this identity to witness the changes of the future world. And Tashigi is not only the little sister she knew in Marine, but now she is her sister. Momousagi felt the need to expand Tashigi's sister's simple cognition. Momousagi said, Tashigi, do you know what this country used to be like? Tashigi, who was constantly telling himself that he was marine, suddenly heard Momousagi's words. He was stunned for a while, and said cutely, Sister Momousagi, this is the first time someone has come here. How do you know what this place was like before? Momousagi looked into the distance. There, a group of civilians are hard at work farming. Momousagi exclaimed, It's not the first time I've come to this country. I happened to pass by here when I was escorting the heavenly gold. What was it like then? Tashigi asked blankly. In the past, the royal family in this country was cruel and unkind. In order to increase military strength and pay the heavenly gold, they ignored the life and death of the people, and almost no one could eat enough. So miserable. Tashigi opened his mouth in shock. Momousagi continued calmly, and because this country is a member of the world government, Marine can't do anything to the royal family. On the contrary, he has to do his best to protect them. 99. How can this happen? 35. Tashigi said angrily, such a bastard royal family should be overthrown. 35. Who will overthrow? Momousagi sneered suddenly. Do people who can't even get enough to eat have the strength to overthrow the royal family? 35. And even if the common people really have the strength to overthrow, the royal family is not a fool. They will immediately ask the world government for help. This country is a legitimate member of the world government, and high-level government officials who seek stability will not be happy to see the royal family change. At that time, the high level will definitely let Marines send troops to help the royal family suppress the rebellion. Everything will go back to square one. Momousagi's cold words made Tashigi completely stunned. Her immature heart was hit by an unprecedented shock. Tashigi's face turned pale, and he shook his head. No, it can't be like this. How can it be like this? Why do the high-level government officials and the navy help the emperor to abuse him? Help Zu to abuse? Celestial Dragons is the biggest villain in the world. Marine in the world government, but they have been helping the tyrants. Momousagi patted Tashigi's shoulder and said quietly, "This is the real world." In this sea, countless countries are exactly the same as this country's previous model. 35. And this pattern has been going on for 800 years. 35. Tashigi's delicate body shook violently. Look at the people who are farming. Tashigi subconsciously looked in the direction Momousagi pointed. They all had smiles on their faces because they got the super seed invented by Luo Xing, and that amazing multi-purpose Cybertronian. 35. It can be expected that they will not go hungry again in the days ahead. So, they're happy now. 9. Luo Xing's conquest of North Blue doesn't mean it's over if he knocks down North Blue. There is also a need to build and stabilize people's hearts. The super seed and multifunctional Cybertronian that Luo Xing promoted in Wanokuni a long time ago has played a huge role in this regard. The people who could see the hope of having a full meal were all ecstatic and warmly welcomed the arrival of the 100 beasts. As for the royal family that stood above their heads and sucked blood, they had long since been thrown out of the sky by the common people. It can be said, when the Beast Group conquered North Blue, it also completely won the hearts and minds of the North Blue countries. It's too early to tell if that man, and the Beast's pirates, were good or bad, good or evil. Momousagi finally said, the only thing that is certain is that their existence has indeed brought a huge change to the world. And this kind of change is exactly what ordinary civilians long for. Tashigi was completely stunned. These truths, and these deep-level cognitions were things she had never thought of before. That man, the pirate, isn't necessarily evil. Marine, world government, do not necessarily represent justice. The old worldview has collapsed. Tashigi just felt unbearable for a while, and his head was splitting. Momousagi sighed pitifully and hugged Tashigi in his arms. Luo Xing on the high platform heard everything Momousagi said to Tashigi. He couldn't help but appreciate Momousagi's wise mind and clear cognition. I am very happy that Momousagi can explain Tashigi's behavior. After all, if Tashigi is always hostile to him, always thinking of returning to Marine, Luo Xing is also very helpless. If Tashigi can let go and return to his heart like Momousagi, of course it is the best. Luo Xing is in a good mood. At this time, the sentry who was on the sea looking for news came back and reported, "Young master, I have seen Marine's fleet." Luo Xing, Jin, Judge and their father and son immediately looked towards the sea level. It didn't take long. The fleet flying the Marine flag appeared in a mighty manner. On the main warship headed, the blind uncle dressed in purple is the newly appointed Marine Admiral, Fujitora, the gravity fruit ability. 230. The old man Fujitora, named Smile, justice from the perspective of civilians. The fleet that Fujitora led this time was not many, only less than 10 ships. One is to act quickly, and the other is that no matter how many warships there are, it is impossible to annihilate the forces of the North Blue Beast Regiment. After all, the 100 beasts have any door invented by the 5 Emperor Luo Xing, which can replenish their troops anytime and anywhere. Unless the marine side is out in full force, no matter how many warships are dispatched, it will be useless. And the new Marshal Akainu let Fujitora come to North Blue this time, mainly to show the determination of the new Marine and the pirates. North Blue was about to be completely captured by Germa, and Marine had to show an attitude, otherwise, it would be too embarrassing not to fight. Standing on the deck of the warship, Fujitora knew that there was no need to fight to the death. More of a temptation and attitude. And Fujitora also has its own purpose. He wanted to know, the commoners ruled by the Beast Corps, is it still in dire straits as usual, or is life a little better? Each Marine Admiral has its own justice. Akainu is absolute justice, Kizaru is ambiguous justice, and Okiji is lazy justice. And Fujitora, justice from the point of view of civilians. Although Fujitora was blinded by himself, the scope of what he could see was far beyond that of ordinary people, because his observation haki, in scope and breadth, is one of the few in the world. Hundreds of meters away from the coast, Fujitora used observation haki to cover the entire island in an instant. A lot of auras that are as powerful as beasts. 35. The first thing Fujitora sensed was the Germac clone army led by Judge and his son, and the Empowerer army led by Jin. There are 2 auras, which are extraordinarily powerful. Together, the old man feels a great threat. 1. but even the old man can hardly perceive its depth. 39. Fujitora's expression became serious. The aura in front of him that made him feel a great threat was because he drank the super divine water, his strength greatly increased, and he was comparable to Kaido's fire calamity. The aura in the back that Fujitora also felt unfathomable, was of course Luo Crossing. On this island alone, there are 2 top powerhouses, and the beast's pirates are indeed terrifying. 5. No wonder you can destroy Impel Down, occupy Sapadi Land, and conquer North Blue. The power of beast's pirates is getting stronger and stronger. Even before joining Marine, Fujitora had heard about it. And Luo Xing, Fujitora, who is now famous in the world, is even above the 4 emperors. If the old man's eyes are not blind, I really want to see, what does such a man who has made a huge change in the world look like? Fujitora whispered in her heart. Then, he spread the sight and hearing to the civilians behind the army of 100 beasts. Although Fujitora can't see, but he could sense the sweat of the hard work of the commoners, as well as the joy in their hearts. What? Fujitora was a little surprised and shocked. Civilians, are they farming? The war is about to start, and civilians are not afraid at all? Fujitora was so surprised, he said to the sailors on the watchtower, look at the people of this country, what are they doing at the moment? The sailor was ordered, raise the binoculars to watch. Immediately, his pupils widened, and his face showed an incredible color. Fujitora sensed the change in the sailor's mood and confirmed his previous guess even more, only to hear that the sea soldier swallowed his saliva and said in an unbelievable tone, the people are actually farming, they are growing food. What they are holding is a large seed that is different from ordinary seeds, and there is a robot next to him to help him plow the fields. Fujitora was silent. After a long time, he sighed and said, I heard that the previous royal family in this country was very cruel and unkind, and the people lived very hard, right? A vice admiral grumbled, okay. It seems like this. What is it like? Fujitora suddenly clenched her fists and stomped her cane hard. The facts are clearly like that. In order to enhance the national strength and pay the heavenly gold to celestial dragons, the royal family of this country has plundered the people to the extent that they are more cruel than pirates. But what are Marine and world government doing? Just because it's a government-affiliated country, we have to protect such a royal family. 39. The sudden outburst of Fujitora made Vice Admiral shudder. He was sweating coldly and didn't dare to answer. Fujitora took a few deep breaths, calmed himself down, and said, in maintaining the justice of the civilians in this country, we Marines are not even as good as the pirates of the beasts. As soon as these words come out, the faces of Vice Admiral and all the sailors on the warship changed greatly. Flowers. Vice Admiral said, Your Excellency Fujitora Admiral, we are Marines, how can we recognize pirates? How can this be possible? Why not? 99. Fujitora said coldly, the facts are right in front of you. The smile on the faces of the commoners is the best answer. Do you want to let the old man tell lies? That Vice Admiral was speechless a long time. Carefully said, but Marshal Sakazuki, let's attack the pirates of the 100 beasts. Fujitora Admiral won't stop fighting because of that, will you? Fujitora was silent for a moment and said, since the old man has accepted the position of Admiral, of course he will take his responsibility. This battle, this old man will not back down. 9. That Vice Admiral breathed a sigh of relief. ... He was most afraid that Fujitora wouldn't fight this battle because the 100 beasts had done something good to the commoners. After returning to Marine headquarters, Marshal Akainu was still not furious. Fujitora stopped talking when the warship was only 100 or 200 meters away from the coast. He gave the order, you all stay on the warship, the old man goes to the island alone. 39. What? All the sailors advised, Lord Admiral, you are too dangerous alone. Fujitora sighed, you can see the troops on the opposite side. It will only be more dangerous for you to go to the island. It is better to fire on the warship to support the old man. Marine did not have many troops at this time. In terms of overall strength, there is a clear gap between it and the 100 beasts. This is something that the Marines at the bottom can see clearly. Fujitora is someone who stands for the justice of the people at the top. He not only wanted to protect ordinary people, but also did not want to be harmed by the sailors who followed him. He intends to be alone and first test the power of the 100 beasts. And his ability, without his teammates, is more conducive to his performance. Call out. Fujitora jumped, landed on the island, facing tens of thousands of enemy troops. Calmly said, my husband Fujitora, named Xiao, is a recruit who has just joined Marine. 95. It's been a long time since I heard that your beasts pirates have the title of the strongest 4 Emperors Regiment, and now they have the intention of competing with the world government for sea hegemony. Since the old man accepted the position of Admiral, I came here today to experience a lesson or two. Gwing. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this and join my Patreon if you want to support me. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.